Greetings and salutations to all of you sweet, fluffy, non-fluffy, adorable, and wonderful, which is all of you listeners. I'm going to be very honest with you. This is probably the third or fourth time that I've started this podcast because, to be very transparent with all of you, it has been one of those days. And a lot of you probably know what I'm talking about. Some days you just don't feel quite right. You just don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you've got it all together, you know? And about an hour ago, I was sitting by myself. I worked today. I went and had dinner with a friend, which was very uplifting, and I sat and just tried to, chill a little bit, and had closed my eyes for a little bit to just, release some energy, some negative energy that I had been experiencing today. And when I woke up, I felt worse. I felt kind of lost, actually. I felt like I was, I had a lot of questions and just feeling like not a lot was, I wasn't feeling very accomplished. I kind of felt like there was a lot of pointlessness going on in my brain that I was trying to make sense of. And I'm not sure entirely what really prompted that feeling, but it only took a little bit of searching and a little bit of something to step back and analyze it. And that's what I want to talk about today, is the importance of stepping back in times when you feel like you're distressed, So again, I don't know what caused these feelings. I don't know where they came from. I don't know where these thoughts appeared out of nowhere. But, yeah, just kind of felt like I didn't have a lot of answers. I kind of felt like I was missing something, or I was, in a place in my life that maybe I shouldn't be. And to some of you, I may be preaching entirely choir, like, oh yeah, I feel like that all the time. And some of you may be taken aback, like, oh, I didn't know you could feel this way, or I've never felt this way, or occasionally I do. But I think we all struggle with this kind of thing. We all struggle with distress, and we all struggle with just questioning things and wondering if we're in the right place. And I think it's really important that when times like that rise up in our souls, we can just step back. We all understand that we get stressed. We all understand what our own anxiety looks like. We all understand, and we can see the patterns within ourselves of something that's just grinding in our lives that's going on, that, we we feel the need to take control of. And sometimes we feel like we're out of control. We've all been there. Even if you can't recall a particular time, I know you've been there. We all have. Snowplow. It is snowing, by the way. It's been snowing for the past few days, and we're getting a lot of accumulation here. I'd say we're up to like 4 to 5 inches now, which is pretty crazy. But hey, it is January, so here we are, So, what does stepping back look like? Sometimes it takes removing yourself from a certain situation. Sometimes it takes going to a secluded area just to be with your thoughts and yourself and analyze what's really going on in your heart. Sometimes it's being with friends and enjoying the company therein with them, being there for them as well as with them. Sometimes it's journaling. Like, one of the things that I talked about on the last podcast is I want to continue journaling and writing more, which I have been doing. I'm very happy to say that, I've taken actual time and commitment to writing things down again. And it's been helping a lot, but it's also not, along with the help, it's kind of been, in a way, feeling more like a burden, Journaling in particular, it's starting to feel more like a burden because I feel like I have to do it every day. I've made it an obligation in my life to do it every day, but I have to remember I don't have to do it every day. There are some days I just don't want to write. I don't have anything to write or anything to say. If some of you out there may be recalling the words of your mother, if you don't have anything to say, then don't say anything. Actually, it's more like, if you don't have anything nice to say, you shouldn't say anything at all. My mom used to say that all the time. But I would take that a step further. If you don't have anything to say, then don't. Don't say anything. Not everything needs to be said all the time. So, yes, journaling in particular is a very healthy outlet. It can be good for your soul and help you work through your own thoughts and your own process in your mind. But there's other days that you just don't feel it. You just don't feel like you have anything to offer or anything to say. So, you don't have to say anything. That's a way of stepping back. Sometimes you got to step back from healthy habits too. Healthy habits, if you let them, will become a burden. Because we're all routine creatures. Human beings are routine to the max. Like, they are absolutely just ritualistic, I myself am very guilty of that. So, getting back to the main kind of meat of what's going on. I was having some, call it existentialism in life. I made another pass. Must have a lot of snow going on out there. Anyway, call it existentialism, call it, some out-of-body questioning, or call it just fruitless, mindless babbling of desperation. I don't know what you want to call it, but either way, it sucked. So, I did what any sensible person would have done, and I removed myself from the situation. I got up from my chair, and I started doing things. I started, I got away from that particular area. I went and I did some things for tomorrow, for the work day. I gave Archie some pets. I started doing a little bit of planning for the upcoming weeks and upcoming convention next week. And I gotta be honest, it helped a lot. And then, after I sat back down, I could start to feel the clouds lift a little bit. And I started searching different things on YouTube, because a lot of times actually, when I'm feeling a certain way, I will search something on YouTube. Like, if I'm feeling dysphoric, or if I'm feeling, just lost, or if I'm feeling in a particular silly mood, whatever the emotion is, I will search it on YouTube just to see what I can find. And I came across this video And I had just watched this video like right before recording this, so it's rather fresh in the mind. It was titled, "If Not Today, Then Tomorrow." That was the title of the video. And the guy who made it was basically talking about his experience with being stressed out as much as humanly possible from moving from one major state to another. And long story short, he is picking up and moving from the west coast, the more west coast, I would say more northwest coast of northwest area of the U.S., and moving back towards the northeast. And he described that there's ice storms and snow and, winter weather warnings all over the place, and trying to get like his family, trying to get like all of his equipment, because he's a business owner, trying to get all of his equipment and everything packed up in time to leave at a certain point this coming week. And he said the way he described it was he started to feel the stress like bubbling up, like from the bottom, from the pit, and then it started just rising slowly with every little thing that was happening. Being stressed out about weather, about packing, about timing, about people, about, schedules, right? As I said, we're very, very habitual, schedule oriented, and ritualistic. It's within our nature. And he talked about how he had to just walk away. He had to just pause, stop where he was in the middle of packing, in the middle of the day, and just retreat to another place. Sit down, have a cup of coffee, and just chill. Just let it all manifest right there in the wake of chaos and through all the stress, anxiety, and worry. And that was actually really powerful to listen to, And since we're talking about the video, there's something I wrote down that he said, which comes from the story Black Beauty, which is about a horse, funny enough. There's a quote in the Black Beauty story, and it goes like this: "Just do your best and leave the rest. It will all come right someday or some night." That's poetic, but it's also so true that the truth is we can only do what we can. We can only do what is within our power. Whether we set that obligation or set that expectation on ourselves, it really doesn't matter in the end, because if we can only get X, Y, and Z done today, or if we intend to get X, Y, and Z done today, we may not get to the Z. We maybe can only get to X and Y. But there's always tomorrow. We can count on that. By the law of averages, tomorrow will come. So, if you don't get it done today, you can get it done tomorrow. If there's ice storms or snow or something in your way that's giving roadblock to something that you have scheduled or an obligation you put on yourself, does it have to be done today? Can you do it tomorrow? And if not tomorrow, if it's still raining, you can do it the next day or the day after that. There's no sense in putting obligations and stress on yourself over something that you cannot achieve today that you know you can't. And there's no shame in that. There really isn't. I was thinking about it while I was hearing this quote, and I was kind of I was actually a little ashamed of myself, because I really should know this, but It's funny how you learn something or you experience something over and over and over, and yet you still don't get it. You still don't understand until it hits you in the face. Sometimes it has to, you know. I was thinking about one, a few experiences in particular. So, as a lot of you know, I make con vlogs. I make convention vlogs. You know, I'll go around with my little GoPro and my fursuit, and I'll make a video from a convention. And let me tell you, those videos are an absolute nightmare and a half to produce because you are sitting in the same place for hours and hours, minutes by minute, days after day after day after day, getting all that footage imported, throwing out the bad, cutting out the bad. I almost said cutting out the good, but well, essentially, yeah, cutting out the good, like separating the good clips from the bad clips, and refining mistakes. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into editing a convention video. And I can remember, in particular, two very specific incidents this past year in 2024 where it took me a literal week per video. The first one was Anthrocon, one of the biggest con vlogs that I ever made. And the second one was Midwest Fur Fest, the one that just went up, the video that I just finished 2 weeks ago. Those two videos together took me about 2 weeks to edit, just to edit. And I was getting really frustrated. I was like, okay, I gotta have this video up by this date, because continuity would say you haven't uploaded a video since X date. So this video needs to go up because then people are going to start to wonder, where are the videos? We're getting further away from the convention date, right? And it needs to be up so it's nice and fresh, and it's got to be up before Christmas. It's got to be up before the new year. It's got to hold on. Why am I putting these expectations on myself? Yeah, logically, it does make sense. You want to upload a video because you want to entertain and you want to make sure that the people see where you were and what you did recently. So yeah, those are good guidelines and principles for a video of this caliber. So like generally speaking, Midwest Fur Fest, for example, was at the beginning of December. So preferably, I'd like to get the video uploaded at the most 2 weeks after that convention, because then people want to see it. People want to see what went on at that convention that just happened. And then when you start getting into like a couple weeks later, maybe a month later, maybe a month and a half, then it starts to dwindle. You see the kind of logic that I'm getting at? Now, that's just how my brain works. I like to get things, set in stone in a good, timely, fashionable, and I guess diligent manner. That's how I was raised. I was raised to be, a good steward of work, diligent, work ethic has to be high, all that kind of stuff, like professionalism, very much high standards in my upbringing. But the truth is, it doesn't have to be today. It didn't have to be the upload date that it was. I could still be working on it right now, and it could go up at the end of this month for who the heck cares, right? The truth of the matter is, people are still going to see it. They're still going to watch it. They're still going to enjoy what you have produced. It doesn't matter if it's a week later, 2 weeks, a month. You can still do it and still produce it in the time that you see fit. And the time that, however long it takes. Right? So, that's what I mean by stepping back. I've had to learn the hard way. I gotta step back. I'll give you another great example. Last year was one of the best years of my life. Like, it was so full of just good, fresh fruit, of especially socially, like with content, with conventions, with friends, with family, with, traveling and adventures and all kinds of things. Like, you all have seen it on the YouTube channel. It was full and fresh and filled with life. But at the same time, it was very, very stressful. Like, I was getting into something every single weekend with friends. I was traveling here, like in between conventions, that is. I was traveling to this person's house, going to this place for a fur me, going here to do a collaboration, going over here, or a friend would come visit for a week, or, you know? And that was every single weekend. And sometimes during the week, too, like after work, friend, hey, let's get some dinner. Friend, let's go see a movie. Friend, can I come over because I need to talk to you? And as much as I'm so grateful for all of those experiences, every single one of them, I will never not be grateful for those. But in all transparency, it was stressful. It was hard. There were like some months where it was a weekend every single week that I was doing something, and I didn't have any time for myself. I had nothing. I didn't have any time to sit back and chill. I was constantly doing something. And that's not good either. It's good to be stimulated. It's good to do things. It's good to be active, sure. You know, I was just reading in Ecclesiastes. Enjoy your youth while you can. Live fruitful, live joyful, because one day you're going to get old and you're going to die. So I really took that to heart. I've been doing that. But I think I overdid it a few times. If I'm being real, I think I overdid it a few times. I didn't have any time for myself. I didn't have any time to step back and chill. And that's why this holiday season has been really interesting, because I took Thanksgiving, Christmas, part of New Year's, even this past weekend and the weekend before that, I've barely done anything. I've been at home. I've been I've been writing. I've been catching up on some things. I've been doing some things around the house. I've been, playing some video games that I've been putting off for a long time. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why I felt that dysphoric feeling of just of what is going on here? What am I doing? What's the point? Because it's different. I've been taking these weekends slower, and I've been actually taking time to rest and to recharge and to step back, and if I had to guess, my brain just kind of short circuited there tonight, feeling like maybe there was no purpose because I'm not used to this kind of rest prolonged. And that's another thing that I've been looking to do this year differently, is reevaluate my obligations, not to be so stressed about social situations or, tasks at hand, slow down and pull back and just enjoy things again. Because here's the thing, when you have stress, when you're stressing out over things that should bring you joy, I fully believe you should stop doing them altogether. Like, if that thing in your life that is supposed to be joyful, fruitful, full of life, and that you enjoy, if it's bringing you stress, anxiety, maybe even sometimes depression, then maybe you should stop. not saying you should quit it. I'm just saying maybe it's a good idea to take a break. Bring it back a little bit, you know? One of the other things that came to mind when I was thinking about doing this podcast is there's a quote, another quote. It's actually a song lyric from some of you may know "Waving Through a Window." Owl City did a cover of it, and the first line of the song I love, and I've been thinking more and more about this line, and it goes, "I've learned to slam on the brakes before I even turn the key." I've learned to slam on the brakes before I even turn the key. It's almost as if the writer of the song is about to start the car, but takes a minute, looks around, just sees the small things of their surroundings, the little things, like maybe the birds in the sky, maybe the sunset or the sunrise, maybe the cloud patterns, maybe the leaves, blowing in the wind, maybe the small snowflakes that are falling on the windshield. And just going, wait. Let's be in the moment. Let's be in the moment. Right now. So, yeah. I think Archie just hit his head. Are you okay, Archie? Someone's got the zoomies right now, so I don't know. He's looking a little bright-eyed right now. Hey, sir. Anyway, even that, like, Archie may be running around like a maniac sometimes, and yeah, sometimes I get annoyed by it, but right now I'm looking at it. You know what? He's just being a cat. How can I take that away from him? He's doing right now what's in his nature and what he feels. So, I think the main takeaway of this is don't be afraid to step back. Don't be afraid to slam on the brakes before you even turn the key. And as it was said, do your best and leave the rest. It will all come right someday or some night. It's okay to express emotions. Express your emotions as they come. Sometimes it takes a retreat. And never be afraid to ask for help if you need it. A lot of times we get caught in this trap of we need to handle things ourselves. We need to fix things. We need to be the person that is the glue or the fixer or the problem solver. In fact, it was just yesterday I had a conversation with a couple friends, and I won't go into grave detail, but let's just say that there was a major amount of family drama that took place over the holidays for one of them. And, we talked for a long time and we got everything out in the open, and they were very honest. And what I have to say, what was really beautiful about that entire conversation, it wasn't the fact that they were getting it off their chest, as a healthy thing, but more it was they were bold enough and yet vulnerable enough to sit down, call a friend, and just say, hey, I'm struggling. And you may not have all the answers. I don't expect you to have all the answers, but I just need you to hear me out. We don't always need to be the fixer. We can ask for help, And more importantly, we can help ourselves when we need it. So, in a way, this right here, me sitting and chatting with you all like this, it's a good therapy for me because it helps me to also have a conversation with you. Like, by me sitting here and just being completely honest with you, I want you to know how much it helps. It really does. And how much it means. It's just, yeah, I feel like you all are there and you're listening, and I want to thank you for that so much. But, you know, since talking about it, haven't felt much stress. I can feel it just slowly, just lifting away slowly, bit by bit. And I want to thank you for that. Thank you for being the person that's there and listens. And as said, you may not have all the answers, but the fact that you were there to hear this, listen to my rambling, but also, you know, being able to absorb this honesty, because I want this podcast to be real. I want this conversation to be real, as honest as possible and as true as it gets. I don't want to hide things from you. I don't want to just put on a facade or a front, A lot of people, I get comments all the time, people saying Samson's such a positive ball of energy, just a good force and all that, and those compliments I could never repay. Thank you so much for all of your kind words, but I gotta be honest once again. There are days like this where I feel lost. I feel stressed. I don't feel like the most positive person. I feel, kind of curmudgeon-y sometimes, even. And that can be all of us. It could be any of us. We all have days like this. And I just want to say thank you for letting me have this day, to come to you and tell you what's going on. So that's all I really have to say. This is a bit of a shorter podcast, but I just need to get that out, and I need to tell you all, like, the truth, the honest truth about what's been happening. And I do, once again, thank you for listening to it, and thank you for being that ear. It really means a lot. So, takeaway. Don't be afraid to step back. We have tomorrow. And after that, we have the next day. And after that, we have the next day. It's okay if you don't get something done today. It's okay if you only can do what you can, as much as you can. Sufficient is the day, as it's been said. So, as always, I want to encourage you, remember your sick Parvis Magna. Remember your greatness from small beginnings. And sometimes that small beginning can just be that one step back and to reevaluate, take that breath, and just chill. Remember where you came from, where you started. Remember that your journey is not done. You are on a journey right now. Never forget the people who brought you up and who stand by you to this day. And oftentimes when you feel a lack of motivation or you feel a lack of control, step back and look at your roots. Maybe you'll find something there that you'll be reminded of. And in the same way, always be you, be yourself. Remember, there is never anyone who has ever been like you. There will never be anyone like you in the future, and there is no one like you right now. Only you can do the things that you can, the way that you can do them. Don't let anyone ever tell you who you can and can't be, or what you can and can't do, because the world needs you as you are right now. And don't forget to ask for help. Don't be afraid. You're going to be okay. And I'm going to be okay. So until next time, this is Samson Kitty Fox. Thank you all for all of your support. Thank you for letting me live my dream every single day. You have no idea what it means to me. I will never be able to repay your love and support. And until next time, until we meet again, until we speak again, I love you all, and have a good night. Bye. Bye-bye. Love you all.